Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're putting on our digital detective hats to look into a very specific university in Pakistan. By digging into its online footprint, what can we figure out about its mission, its people, and the impact it's having? Let's dive in.
All right, so the big question. What exactly is the Shaheed Benazir Bhutto University of Veterinary and Animal Sciences? I know, that's a mouthful, right? So for this, we're just going to call it SBBUVAS. It's a long name, but that name actually gives us a huge clue about its super specialized mission. Let's start peeling back the layers and see what makes this place tick.
So, here's our game plan. We're going to act like investigators, piecing together a profile from all the clues it's left online. Public announcements, its website, news flashes. This way, we get a really raw, unfiltered look at what this university is all about and how it actually works.
Okay, first up, a university in profile. Before we can get into all the complex stuff, we gotta build a solid foundation. So let's just start with the absolute basics. Who are they, where are they, and what do they really stand for?
Okay, so here are the vitals. SBU UVAS is a public university, and it's pretty young. It was founded back in 2012. And their motto? Knowledge is power. Short, sweet, and straight to the point. For an institution that's just over a decade old, that sets a really clear and ambitious tone right from the get-go.
And this quote from the Vice Chancellor, it really fleshes that motto out, doesn't it? It shows it's not just about gaining knowledge for the sake of it. No, this is knowledge with a very clear goal, to help mankind and other living beings. This tells us that the university sees its mission as something that goes way, way beyond the campus gates.
Okay, next section, meet the leadership. Because let's be real, a mission statement on a website's one thing, but who are the actual people steering the ship and making that vision a reality? Let's take a closer look at the leadership team at SBBUS.
Whoa, okay, take a look at this. You see how many hats these folks are wearing? Professor Hassan is the Vice Chancellor and a Dean. And Professor Rajput, he's holding down 3 major titles at once. This tells you right away that the leadership here isn't just a bunch of administrators stuck in an office. These people are deeply, deeply involved in the academic heart of the university. That suggests a very hands-on approach.
And it's not just about the titles either. Look at what they're actually doing. Their schedules are packed with this incredible range of activities. One day, they're in a high-stakes meeting with an international group like the UN's Food and Agriculture Organization, and the next, they're right there in the mix, judging a student debate. That shows they're playing the long game with global strategy, but they're also right there on campus, day in and day out.
All right, moving on to Section 3, driving science and collaboration. So, we've covered the why, their mission, and the who, the leadership. Now it's time for the what. What's actually happening at this university? Let's check out their activities, from seminars on campus to partnerships around the globe.
This timeline is a fantastic window into the pulse of the university. You can see these major academic milestones, like hosting a big international symposium, sitting right next to really important cultural and national events. It paints a picture of a campus that is always buzzing with activity, balancing cutting-edge science with community and tradition. So if you step back and look at all this activity, you start to see a pattern, right? It really boils down to 4 main things. They're big on international teamwork. They're focused on science you can actually use, like smart poultry farming. Then there's the serious business of running the university and, of course, a really active campus life. This shows they're not just a one-trick pony. They're tackling their mission from all sides.
Okay, so for our 4th section, let's talk about life on campus. With all this talk of high-level science and global partners, it's easy to forget about the heart of any university, the students. So, what's it really like to study here? What's going on when you're not in a lecture?
First things first, money. How do they support their students? Well, it looks like they have a 2-track approach. On one hand, you've got your merit-based stuff, like the Prime Minister's laptop scheme, basically a reward for being a top student. But on the other hand, and this is so important, they have these need-based scholarships, using things like zakat and specific funds for minority students. It's a system built to catch students from all different walks of life.
And it's definitely not just about the finances. When you look at what's happening outside the classroom, you see a real commitment to student well-being. They have specific counseling sessions for female students and a committee where teachers and students actually work together. Then you mix in all the other stuff, debate competitions, multicultural festivals, even seminars on anti-corruption, and you get a picture of a really vibrant and supportive campus.
All right, our final section, opening doors to a future. So let's say you're listening to all this and thinking, hey, this place sounds interesting. How would you actually get in? Let's break down the path to becoming a student.
Okay, after digging through their announcements, the admissions journey is actually pretty straightforward. It looks like a clear four-step process. First, you submit your application. Second, you gotta take an entry test. Third, you keep a close eye on the merit lists they publish online. And finally, if you make the cut, you pay your fees and bam, you're in. It seems like a pretty transparent system. And all of this is built on 3 core academic pillars. This is really the heart of the university, and it gets right back to that long name we talked about at the very beginning: veterinary sciences, biosciences, and animal production and technology. By focusing so tightly on these 3 areas, they can really go deep, offering everything from a bachelor's degree all the way up to a PhD.
So when you put all these puzzle pieces together, what do you get? You see a university that's doing something really interesting. It's connecting the dots between local farming challenges and big global science. And that leaves us with one last really big question to think about. In a world facing huge challenges with food security and animal welfare, what kind of impact is a super specialized university like this going to have on our future? Now that's something to keep an eye on.